It's like living in an abusive household. You feel you don't know what's going to happen next, what crazy thing is going to happen next, what's going to make you say, what the hell's going on?
Robert De Niro has shared the screen with Hollywood's biggest names, but not every collaboration went smoothly. Not everyone earns his respect. In fact, some actors have clashed so hard with De Niro that he's walked off sets, shut down communication, or in the case of Joker with Joaquin Phoenix, reportedly felt physically sick. In this video, we're counting down the top 7 actors Robert De Niro hated the most, from rising stars who defied his discipline to Oscar winners who pushed too far. Who made the list? And what really happened behind the scenes? Let's get into it. Number 7. Jennifer Lawrence. No one expected Robert De Niro, the quiet, disciplined titan of method acting, to clash with Jennifer Lawrence, Hollywood's most instinctive and just wing-it superstar. But from the moment they stepped onto the set of Silver Linings Playbook, it was clear these two came from different planets. De Niro arrived with every emotional beat carved into stone. Lawrence walked in trusting spontaneity, chaos, and pure gut feeling. The tension only sharpened on joy. During a crucial basement argument scene, De Niro had a carefully built arc ready to go, only for Lawrence to improvise her way through it. Crew members said his stunned expression said everything. The scene he'd prepared for had just dissolved in front of him. He never confronted her, but the icy distance between them grew obvious, even in interviews. When Howard Stern asked about her approach, De Niro's answer cut deep. Sometimes spontaneity works. Other times, it's just not being prepared. For a while, it looked like an unspoken Hollywood feud. They quietly avoided future collaborations, and neither commented on the drift. But beneath the surface, something unexpected was forming. Lawrence later invited De Niro to her rehearsal dinner, and when she panicked that he looked out of place and whispered, "Go home," he thanked her and left with a smile. Not offended, not distant, just De Niro. And somehow, out of all the friction, they forged one of Hollywood's most unlikely relationships. Number 6. Joaquin Phoenix. Robert De Niro has built his entire legacy on control, quiet discipline, meticulous preparation, and an almost military respect for structure. Joaquin Phoenix, meanwhile, is the exact opposite: volatile, instinctive, unpredictable. So when Joker forced these two extremes into the same room, it wasn't collaboration, it was collision. From the start, their methods clashed. De Niro demanded a full table read. Phoenix refused, telling director Todd Phillips, "There's no effing way I'm doing a read-through." De Niro shot back, "Tell him he's an actor. He needs to be there." Phoenix reluctantly attended, but barely spoke, mumbled lines, and avoided De Niro entirely. The tension grew so sharp that De Niro insisted on a private meeting. Phoenix resisted, then finally sat down, and the conversation ended with De Niro kissing him on the cheek, sealing a fragile truce. On set, they barely exchanged words. Phoenix later said, "We said good morning, and that was it." De Niro agreed. The only relationship that mattered was between their characters, and maybe that's why the dynamic worked. Arthur Fleck idolizing Murray Franklin, then destroying him, mirroring the strange mix of admiration and discomfort between the actors themselves. When Joker blew up, $1 billion at the box office, a Golden Lion, Phoenix's Oscar, their tension became part of the mythology. It wasn't a feud in the tabloid sense, it was something deeper. They finished the film as professionals, but with no desire to ever share a set again. Number 5. Steve Schirripa. When Robert De Niro and Steve Schirripa crossed paths on Casino, it should have been a dream moment for the young actor. Instead, it became the moment that sparked one of the coldest one-sided grudges in Schirripa's entire career. Before The Sopranos made him a household name, Schirripa was cast as a bar patron. Small role, big opportunity. When he spotted De Niro on set, the man whose performances in Raging Bull and Taxi Driver shaped everything he admired about acting, He walked up and said a simple hello. De Niro didn't nod, didn't smile, didn't respond at all. De Niro was an asshole to me, Sharipa said years later. You say hello, and he's stuck for a fucking answer. That cold brush-off stuck to him like glue. Even decades later, Sharipa's anger never softened. On multiple podcasts, he went further. He couldn't be ruder. The guy is a zero. If he doesn't have a script in his hand, he can't speak. To Sharipa, it wasn't introversion. It was arrogance. The kind that lets a superstar pretend lesser actors don't exist. De Niro has never addressed it. No explanation. Maybe he didn't remember. Maybe it was just another day for a man famously uncomfortable with small talk. But for Sharipa, it became a defining scar. Proof that the smallest slight from a hero can turn admiration into lifelong contempt. Number 4. Billy Crystal. On screen, Robert De Niro and Billy Crystal looked like a perfect match, but behind the scenes, they couldn't have been further apart. Analyze. This gave audiences explosive chemistry, but insiders say the set was defined by a quiet, creative clash, De Niro's rigid method acting versus Crystal's instinctive, improvisational chaos. From the first week, the tension was unmistakable. De Niro arrived fully internalized as Paul Vitti, every beat rehearsed, every emotion mapped out. Crystal kept rewriting lines, riffing through scenes, and chasing comedic spontaneity. Billy wanted to discover the moment, director Harold Ramis recalled. Bob wanted precision. And that difference began to freeze every interaction between them. Therapy scenes became the epicenter of the rift. Crystal would twist timing and push jokes. De Niro stayed stone solid, refusing to follow him off script. Crew members noticed the frustration building. He shut down, one said. He felt Billy was playing for laughs instead of truth. Off camera, the divide only widened. Separate lunches, separate trailers, barely a word exchanged. De Niro reportedly told Scorsese privately, Crystal was playing for laughs, not honesty, a devastating critique from an actor who built his legend on raw authenticity. Crystal left the film feeling stifled, telling friends he couldn't find rhythm because De Niro gave him nothing. 2 decades later, the silence remains. No reunions, no praise, no collaboration, just an iconic comedy born from 2 men working inches apart, yet miles away. Number 3. Ben Stiller. Nobody expected Robert De Niro and Ben Stiller to struggle off camera, but from day one, their clash of styles created a storm behind Meet the Parents. De Niro approached Jack Burns with full method intensity, building a psychological backstory and playing every beat with deadly seriousness. Stiller, meanwhile, thrived on looseness, riffing, improvising, and twisting lines to find the funniest possible moment. That difference became the root of their friction. During the polygraph scene, Stiller kept experimenting. De Niro grew colder and more withdrawn, slipping into his trailer between takes. Bob wasn't angry, just disappointed, one crew member recalled. He thought the comedy should come from truth, not gags. Stiller respected De Niro deeply, but the emotional distance reportedly threw off his rhythm. By the sequels, they worked side by side, not together. De Niro summed it up years later at Tribeca with a single telling line, "We just approached the work very differently." And that was a distant border for 2. Number 2. Mickey Rourke. Some Hollywood feuds fade with time, but the bad blood between Robert De Niro and Mickey Rourke only grew darker, sharper, and more personal as the decades passed. What started as a professional clash in 1987 turned into one of the longest, coldest rivalries in modern film history, and neither man has forgiven or forgotten. The trouble began on the set of Angel Heart. De Niro, already a legend, arrived fully transformed, prepared, precise, and locked inside his character. Rourke, raw and unpredictable, expected camaraderie. Instead, he got ice. De Niro approached Rourke before shooting and said, "It's better if we don't talk." Rourke never recovered from the cut. "I looked up to him," he said years later. "Now I look through him." From then on, the set felt like a psychological battlefield. De Niro refused to speak to Rourke directly, communicating only through director Alan Parker. Crew members described the atmosphere as matter and antimatter circling each other. But the bitterness didn't end with the film. Decades later, Rourke claimed De Niro blocked him from The Irishman, saying Scorsese wanted to meet him, until De Niro refused. When De Niro's camp publicly denied it, Rourke exploded, unleashing a now infamous Instagram threat. "When I see you, I'm gonna embarrass you severely. 100%. Rourke has since doubled down, accusing De Niro of arrogance, insecurity, and hiding behind mythology instead of truth. De Niro, meanwhile, has stayed almost completely silent. 4 decades later, their feud hasn't cooled, and that silence may be the most hostile message of all. Number 1. Edward Norton. At first, nobody expected trouble between Robert De Niro and Edward Norton. Their pairing sounded like a cinematic dream, an acting legend sharing the screen with one of Hollywood's sharpest rising talents. But the moment the cameras rolled on The Score, 2001, that dream cracked. What looked like mutual respect from the outside quickly turned into a silent power struggle behind the scenes. De Niro came in with his signature calm precision, prepared, measured, quietly intense. Norton walked in armed with script notes, rewrites, and a confidence that rubbed De Niro the wrong way almost immediately. "Bob wanted the work to flow like jazz," one crew member recalled. "Norton tried to conduct every beat." The breaking point came when Norton stayed half in character as a mentally disabled janitor between takes, an immersive method choice De Niro found grating. At one point, De Niro muttered just loud enough to sting, "I learned from real people, not by acting like them." From that moment, the set turned icy. De Niro avoided unnecessary interactions, filming only when needed. Norton responded by keeping his distance, pushing his ideas through the director rather than through De Niro. Even Marlon Brando tried to ease the tension and then quietly bowed out. "They weren't arguing," a lighting tech said, "but the cold between them was unreal. No eye contact, no warmth, just 2 men working in opposite directions." Years later, their comments only sharpened the divide. When asked about Norton's style, De Niro simply said, "Preparation matters. Knowing when to stop, that's wisdom." Norton, meanwhile, hinted back, "You learn from everyone, even from people who don't like being challenged. They've never reunited, never collaborated, never softened." At a festival in 2019, a journalist asked De Niro if he followed Norton's career. De Niro paused, then answered quietly, "He's doing his thing. I'm doing mine." From on-set clashes to lifelong grudges, Robert De Niro's history with these 7 actors proves that even Hollywood legends have their limits. Whether it was method acting gone too far or just bad chemistry, the tension was real. Which feud surprised you the most? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more stories like this. Until next time, stay tuned.